Ken has got one bowl left to stop Kath Garnett going into the second round. No, it's pulling up short, I think. Well, let's have a look and see.
Well bowled, Kath. Well bowled.
Kath's on. She doesn't have to bowl the last one.
How lovely.
Kath Garnett's through.
I'm just thrilled to win just one game. I mean, it was brilliant just to play, but to win a game, it's just brilliant.
Very good morning to you and welcome to day 2 of the Bassmasters. The commentator's curse, the famous last words of yesterday along the lines of a lady's lament. Then up popped Kath Garnett there and basically took Ken Armitage to the cleaners to set up a second round tie with John Bancroft. One of 3 former champions to see off the dreaded first round yesterday. Here's a reprise with Alistair.
The first player into the second round was Jack Kelly, who made light work of the informed Charlie Bebbington. 21-6, hardly a scoreline many would have predicted. Billy Hilton had a similarly easy passage into the last 16, a 21-7 win over Irene Reardon, the Yorkshire Bank Golden Lady. Brian Duncan looked in awesome mood, the tournament favourite dominating his game with the unfortunate Darren Griffiths on the receiving end. It's all hotting up for a second round showdown with last year's winner Glyn Cookson. Cookie involved in the game of the round so far, surviving the challenge of Gary Ellis 21-17, not without the odd scare either. Gary Smith knocked out Sue Moyden, the Wire Festival champion 21-8, to ease his way into a second day. While Robert Crawshaw could possibly have played the bowl of the tournament, and what's more, it was the winning one to clinch his match with Kerry Morris. Morris eventually subsiding to 15 as the 1985 Bassmaster looked in the mood for a repeat 10 years on. Equally ready for repeat success is John Bancroft, the dueling banjo disposing of the awkward Ken Strutt. It's a win that's really settled him down.
When you've won your first game in the Bass, you feel as though you're involved in the competition. There's nothing worse than losing first game. You don't feel as though you've made your mark on the week. So in a way, you can almost relax a little bit and enjoy the week a little bit more when you've won your first one.
The top of the draw now clearer, Kelly versus Hilton, the tie of the round, Duncan against Cookson, and Messrs Crawshaw and Bancroft could meet in the quarter-final if they dispose of Gary Smith and Kath Garnett respectively. Tommy Johnson, a twice-beaten finalist, overcame a tricky battle with Kevin Shaw 21-16 the final score, and he'll meet Roy Marksham, who was involved in the tightest tussle, a 21-19 victory, squeezing his way past Barry Sim. Peter Fielding won the last match of day 1. Sadly, another woman went by the wayside, Margaret Browning, the loser. So, plenty to be sorted out still in the bottom half. Only one definite tie, Tommy Johnson against Roy Marksham, while Peter Fielding awaits the winner of Andrew Spragg against David McDermott.
So with the exception of Kath Garnett, no major surprises yesterday, so presumably the odds haven't changed that much. Let's check them out with the doyen of bowls bookies, Cliff Hope. He's greenside at the moment with Ali.
Well, Cliff, I think it's fair to say that whenever Brian Duncan turns up for a tournament, he will be the favourite.
Well, money makes favourites, and even though he's had perhaps a slow start to the season, he suddenly picked up a couple of handicaps and then showed what he could do yesterday with a very sound performance.
He's up at 7-2, and yet is there still plenty of money coming in?
Oh yes, always well backed, Brian, especially when he's playing well. We have to put up with that.
John Bancroft also at 7-2. He perhaps wasn't as hotly tipped at the start as he was after the victory yesterday.
No, well, he was a 10-1 shot, but he was playing, of course, one of his local rivals from Manchester, Ken Strutt, which was a hard match. But as you can see today, he's playing the one lady survivor, and of course that reflects in the price.
OK, well those are the odds. The current odds on the game taking place is Paul Strutt evens and Robert Hitchen 6-4 on. So back to the commentary position eventually via Elton to find out if those odds are right.
Well, we will do very shortly. We'll have that match live involving Paul Strutt, whose father Ken lost here to John Bancroft yesterday. Now, young Paul is hugely talented and come on leaps and bounds since being beaten by Tommy Johnson last year, and had a major interest in the very first Bassmasters final back in '82 as a spectator, watching Dad on the left there losing out to Noel Burrows.
I went to support him on the final day, and I sat in the stand watching Well, I'm not sure if I enjoyed it too much at the time.
You'd have enjoyed it when he was well in front, and
That's
then
right,
Noel
yeah,
Burrows came back. Do you remember?
I think he was about. He must have been 10-3 or something like that in front, and he lost about 16 in the end. Yeah, I do remember the game.
So that's probably what introduced you to the game of bowls, was it? To sort of put the family pride back intact?
Oh, I don't know about that, but I started playing shortly after, yeah.
Yeah. Was it very much, your dad's interest in the game? Did he push you into bowls in any way?
He didn't push me, no, but as once I decided I wanted to play, give me a few helpful tips.
Now, you actually beat him in one of the qualifying competitions this year, didn't you?
That's right, we've played a few times this year, and every time up to this year, really, I've had quite a poor record against him, but I've managed to beat him twice this year, which is rather fortunate for me.
What's it like when you're out there playing against your old fella?
It's not so bad. We played in a final in Middleton, which was nice because at least one of us was going to win the handicap. But I don't like it, to be honest. It doesn't seem to affect my dad, but I feel a little bit uncomfortable.
The extraordinary thing, or nearly unique, was that your sister Debbie came within one chalk of qualifying for the Bass Masters as well, which meant there'd been three of you strutting around.
She lost in the final of the Isle of Man tournament, 21-20, after leading 17-10. So she's a bit unfortunate not to be here either yesterday or today.
Good morning to Roy Armstrong. What a nice lad, and what a remarkable bowling family. When you think about it, we could have had three Strutts, as I said there in the interview with Paul earlier on.
Yes, Debbie's very talented. I would think she's in the top 6 of the ladies' game, and Paul, as you said, he's developing on the right lines. A very nice lad to play. I've actually played him twice, and he's a really good player and a very nice lad.
So it's true what they say about bowls, Roy, is it? It's in the genes.
Oh yes, very much so. The upbringing's right. He's learning good habits. Plays a lot of correct shots, and he's also good under all conditions, wet or dry.
OK, let's go down memory lane again, because Paul's out there at the moment live as we move down to the green against Bob Hitchen. Now, modestly, you can explain your greatest memory against, or one of them certainly, against Bob back in '86, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it certainly was. It's one of the things that I do remember, and I remember playing in the final and not playing very well. And
Greenhill County Classic.
In the Greenhills County Classic at Carmill, which was a very, very difficult green to play. And I got myself into the situation where I was 19-9 behind, and I thought to myself, well, all I can do is get 1 or 2 chalks for the papers tomorrow morning so it doesn't look too bad. And before I knew it, it was 16-19, and I could see Robert becoming more and more under pressure, and lo and behold, of course, I came through and won the event, but it could never happen again. I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing for that to happen, and since that time Robert and I have become good pals. He's a real class player, probably one of the top 3 players in Yorkshire, and I've got a lot of respect for him, and nice to say him for me.
One final word on that epic final of '86 at Carmill. I was talking to Bob in the players' hut earlier, and he said if I'd still been playing now, I wouldn't have scored in that match. He said I just could not read that mark that bloody Armstrong put me on. No, he's a smashing lad, and one of the pride of Yorkshire bowlers, isn't he? Really, he is.
Yes, he's very good at flat green as well. I think if he stopped playing crown and concentrated on flat, he'd be a qualifier in that as well. OK, well, let's join our commentators with the score. Paul Strutt, maybe putting a bit of the old family pride intact after Dad going out yesterday. 5-1 he leads at the moment. Dad Ken losing to one of our commentators for this very match. That's John Bancroft, and he's alongside Brian Brett. Good morning to you, Brian.
Good morning, Elton. Good morning, everybody. I thought you were going to say me for one horrible moment there, Elton. Morning, John Bancroft.
Good morning.
Let's have a quick word. I know that you are having a little problem deciding who might just win this little epic. So far, let's just remind people at home, it's 6-1, and we're now into the 5th end. What are your thoughts generally about the match?
Well, Roberts obviously started out as a slight favourite. He's jockeying for position, really. He's trying to get Paul into these longish scoreboard corners, and every time he's gone for the corners, Paul's produced the balls to get back in and get Bob across the middle of the green where Paul likes to play himself.
Yes, the interesting thing, I suppose, from Paul's point of view, he's trying a sort of triangular start, isn't he? He's going from the middle of one to the middle of the other, and then across and back again.
Yeah, and that's a favourite tactic of his father's, actually. He's obviously learned that one from the family bowling school, yeah.
Yeah, well, he, of course, did put out Ken yesterday, but the Strutt family very much there. He's made a flying start. He led 3-0, 5-1 and then 6-1. Robert struggling really to get to the length and the pace of the game. Just take out one bowl there. Robert may well just fancy a little something here. We've already had one measure. We may well measure for the second bowl here. No, he's got the 2. Robert Hitchen. And how we needed that. 3-6. Robert Hitchen in the Bassmasters, which incidentally no left-hander has ever won, has gone out in the first round in 1986, 87, 90, 91, and then got through the first round in 92 and lost to Alan Thompson, his pairs partner, his county teammate. I'm not sure that he's happy on this green, John. Have you any thoughts on that?
Well, he's not vastly experienced on the green. He doesn't particularly fancy it. He's never had an extended run in the Talbot Trophy handicap, which is played on this green. I think really he's a bit of a loss where to go apart from the corners. If he doesn't establish his game in the corners, I think we could start to see Paul dominate really.
He started well. 6-3 advantage this time again. Hitchen just a yard through. Little correction on his first bow, but plenty of space here for Paul Strutt. He's now 26, but he's off the land. He's misread that one. Unless he gets a bit of pegging now, he might just peg in. Might just have won that, John.
I think it might have just crept in there on the length. Yeah, just found a little bit of peg at the end of the end of its trail there.
Right, so another single. 7-3. Paul Strutt, who qualified first of all by winning the Bass Muir Brace Open down in Shropshire, and then added the City of Leeds Classic. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, John, but he beat Stan Frith in the final. Do you recall that one? There was a bitter twist at the end.
Yes, a bit of controversy. I wasn't there on the day. In the previous year, which he also won, he beat me in the semi-final, and he plays the green very well, and he plays it confidently.
I think what happened at the end was that Stan had a bowl which he thought had won it and signalled that he'd won it, and then Paul's bowl suddenly turned over and fell in, and all of a sudden Paul was a double qualifier for the Bass, as Robert Hitchen is. He's a lively lad around the green, sprints around. At 26, you would expect that. Construction estimator, they like that. Beautiful. Not quite touching, so we're not on for the double toucher £500 prize, but we are on here for a strike. And he lets it go, he fires and clips everything. Now what has he done? Has that worked his way? He shifted the jack an awful long way to the left. Well, I hope they don't want to measure on this, John, because they're going to have to get out the old ropes. I would have thought he's going to get the bad news any moment now. Don't like the look of this, Robert. Throws it in. 2 to blue. Unlucky. 9-3. Paul Strutt. A strike that went straight against him. That at the 8th end. A strike that, I don't know. He's a good striker, John, isn't he?
I consider him probably the hardest and the best striker in the game. It's unusual for Robert to miss a target so big at such a short range, really. He'll be very
disappointed. He made the connection, didn't he? But he didn't get the result. He
did make a connection, but in his own mind he'll be disappointed there. Yes. He didn't take the jack off clean.
You make him a more fearsome striker than Mike Knowles or Norman Stanley.
He certainly strikes. He certainly strikes the hardest of any player around. Paul himself is a very hard striker and a very good one, but Bob just has the edge in my mind.
Yes, now this is a nice side bowl from Robert Hitchen in grey. Paul firing, striking, straight off. Oh. Well, what a forecast, John. Not bad, that. It's not bad.
I think I'll have to enter lottery this week.
You're not Mystic Meg by any chance, are you, John? What a strike. Gosh, that's 2 strikes, 2 successive ends, and this one takes it absolutely off. So we're going to start again. And Paul Strutt, having set that mark, what a strike. Gracious. Will now set the mark. Since he set the original mark, he has the jack. Bring the footer in, a good metre from the edge. And it all settles down again. And of course, he can pick the land he wants. 30, 35 yards, dropping nicely, bit of daylight. Robert Hitchen then, been playing 25 years, won a lot of top tournaments, but never the Bass, never made much progress in the Bass. Made a bit of progress there, might have just turned and pegged away. Paul Strutt, playing 11 years, 26 now, left that well short. Will Hitchen wait for advice? No, he's going to bowl. Doesn't want his concentration disturbing. Happy that he can win this end. Just negotiate away past the first bowl and drop down. There's certainly one. Have a look around. Is there a possibility of two? I don't think he's conceded the first yet. Hitchen fancies two. He's got two. Two to Gray. Two to Hitchen. So 5-9. I think the pattern of play must change. John?
Yes, it has done. Robert's gone for the other set of corners now. He's been practising mainly the other pair, but he's gone for these corners now. He's played he's too far again. He's struggling for a length at the moment. He just can't get his leads going. He's not putting Paul under any pressure, and Paul's able to just play easy balls all the time and not have to worry about licking anything particularly near.
Well, if Paul at 9-5 can win this end, just plant a nice lead in now. At the halfway, he's going to be certainly in the driving seat. Don't know if there's a great record between these two, John, over the years. I would have thought probably Bob at the edge, because Paul has only sort of come into prominence over the last couple of years.
Possibly. I was asking Bob actually before they started, and he said that they hadn't played this season yet. They did play in the final of a competition, funnily enough, in Leeds last season when the green was underwater. And Bob, as we know, is one of the biggest, strongest lads on the circuit, and he did beat Paul in that final, but I don't think they've played this season.
Right, so that's another two to the blue of Paul Strutt, and halfway up, and at 11-5, Mr. Strutt is looking good. We'll be right back, but now just a short break.
You look after your body. Lynx Skin System Sensitive Deodorant looks after your skin.
There's never been a magazine like Eva.
With a Morphy Richards Easy Clean Cool Wall Fryer, there's only one thing easier than cleaning its non-stick removable tank. And its dishwasher-safe lid with permanent filter. And that's the ease with which it cooks great chips. The Morphy Richards range of Easy Clean Cool Wall Fryers guaranteed to make life easy.
Start the day the wrong way, and hunger might catch up with you. Hunger strikes! But start with Shreddies, and Frosted Shreddies keep hunger locked up till lunch.
St Ivel Baby and Toddler Yogurt. No added colour, no preservatives, no added sugar. Sweetened only with pure apple juice. St Ivel Baby and Toddler Yogurt. Pure enough for little angels.
There's nothing smoother than a pot shot from Munch Bunch.
Yo! When you first set up home, you only have a few bits and pieces. But over time, your worldly possessions tend to grow, as can the cost of insuring them. Who should you call? With Direct Line, you just answer a few quick questions and we'll do all we can to make sure you get exactly the right amount of cover.
Thank you.
At exactly the right price. For an instant quote, Call 0161 839 8877.
Step it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Why buy a step? I've got 14 steps right here. And another thing, why pay more for your washing powder when Radiant tackles stains and gets clothes brilliantly clean and fresh? And the moral of the story is, why stretch yourself if you don't have to? Radiant, hard on stains, soft on pockets.
And welcome back, and doing a spot of towering out there on the green is Paul Strutt. When he left us, his advantage was 11-5. Robert Hitchen came back with a double, and now we're at 12-7. But it's another two to blue of Paul Strutt, who at 14-7 is very much in command of this game. John Bancroft, when Robert has had the chance to play the jack, he's gone for distance. He's not led very well at all.
No, he's not put Paul under any sort of pressure at all. Paul's always had the ability to step in. He's always had a yard, 4 foot to play with, and you can't give that sort of room to someone of the likes of Paul Strutt, who's a good player.
Yes, even with the old left hand versus right hand situation, Robert Hitchen has never been in a position to exploit that.
No, generally both of them have been playing their own finger peg, forcing the other player to come across the body. Paul has been switching it about a little bit, just for a bit of variation, but Bob, even though he's got the advantage when he's got the jack, Bob, sending it finger peg, if he's not putting one within a yard, he's not going to count the end. It doesn't really matter if you're not putting the leads up.
No, well, he's been putting pressure on himself, in fact. Paul getting a little close to the bowl, not allowed to get within a metre of a running bowl. So here we might see the ferocious striking again of Robert Hitchen. The best in the game, says John Bancroft. Let's see. Not this time, not this time.
I think I put the mockers on him there, haven't I, saying he was the best.
Got it right once, yeah. Left 2 to Paul Strutt. Well, it's 16-7. Things are looking good for Paul Strutt. Wonder how Dad Ken is thinking about all this. Talking down greenside to Alistair Mann.
Well, things are looking very nice indeed for Paul at the moment, aren't they?
Well, he's playing a good length at the moment. He just needs to keep it all together now.
Was he confident going into this one?
Well, he's been playing well, so, you know, he's quite happy with his game.
Robert Hitchen's a man he knows very well. Is it a difficult thing to play a man that you know so well?
Well, they play on the handicap circuit. They're always bumping into each other. Yes.
Does he have to do anything different, do you think, or just play the way he's been playing?
Oh, just carry on as he is, doing all right.
Well, he's been jumping up and down, getting quite animated, and hardly surprising. 16-7 lead. Back to you.
Thank you, Alistair. I hope Ken doesn't get too excited down there, really, at 16-7. He's a bit dour, is Ken, at the best of times. A great opponent. Here we go. Hitchen has got a good bowl, quite close to the jack, within a foot of the jack. That's his second. My goodness, couldn't he do it two? Couldn't he do it two? What's he got? He's got two. Robert Hitchen. (9-16). Robert Hitchen with the jack. And John, he's having to think about this, isn't he? He's thinking he should have persist with the corners. He's changed it, hasn't he?
Yes, I think he's come to the conclusion that he's just not making the leads that are required, so he's trying to find something different. He's gone on a finger peg mark, as we were talking, making Paul go across his body, just underneath the crown, hoping to get Paul playing to back, really, and wider the jack.
Is this a tactic you use when playing a left-hander? You go finger off the crown?
Yeah, a lot of top-class players use it when they're playing a right-hander, left-hander combination. It's something that is quite well used in the game by all the top players, really.
Now then, Paul, this doesn't look bad, does it? This does not look at all bad. Very tasty. He's on form this season, and he's come to the fore really over the last 2 or 3 seasons. Made a big step up, hasn't he, from sort of club player to tournament?
Well, I think...
Good ball here, yeah.
That's a super ball from Bob. That could have just kept him in the game, really. I think Paul will be having to do it this, though.
And you said he's a fine striker as well, of course, and with some power. And with some power, he's got something. Got almost everything. What's he left? 2 balls off the green. Now, what has he left on? He's left 1, I think.
He's left his own bowl on there for 1. I know he's left Robert.
He's left Gray, hasn't he?
Well,
yeah.
They all got shook up there. I must admit, I thought that was.
Yes,
I thought that was his own bowl that he got left there. But
well, that swung against him actually.
That was a bonus for Robert. That.
Yeah, could have gone anywhere. In fairness, look at this strike, John. What do you think? Some power there, but the outcome was very unlucky. Man, it's bobbling that much. Look at this. They took off.
Well, I don't think Paul can be too disappointed with that. He's got an absolutely full connection on the ball. He couldn't have hit it any better. He's just been a little bit unlucky there.
Yes. So, at 10-16, Hitchen certainly needs to find something. This is an interesting mark. 10-16 off the mat. I had a feeling there was a saucer in that region, John.
Yes, there is a little bit of a basin round there, and it's just a little bit faster finishing there than the rest of the green, so Bob will be just trying to catch Paul playing too far, but Paul's just hitting a length everywhere. I'll be surprised if he falls for it.
Yes, because it will now cut back. If it gets much past the jack, it can run. Well, it's all right there, a little bit of a green patch. Just held him up. Big end for Hitch in this. He's 10-16 down. He can't afford to let Strutt get any more daylight, really. So he's tried to adjust, but it's slightly off the line. Might I just peg? Yes, they want to know. David Fishwick, the referee, being asked by Paul Strutt just how the land lies. That's the view from inside the tented area. David Fishwick from Wigan, the referee. Fancies the Strutt bowl. His only thoughts of strike have gone, and he'll just play up and hopefully count 2. But it's got to stop. It's running down the slope. It's fast running there. Gone through. May call for a measure. Doesn't bother. Robert Hitchen concedes immediately. Another 1 to blue. The blue of Paul Strutt. And at 17-10, John, we have to say that Robert really hasn't performed.
No, he's not been up to scratch this morning, Robert. He'll be very disappointed so far with his game, but 17's never won a game, as you say.
That's absolutely
and
true.
There's always time. I wouldn't be surprised if the next time Bob gets in, if he does, he tries an edge, because he is quite a good edge player, and but he's got to get this jack off Paul and start making a few leads. The trouble is, when he plays a lead, he's never putting Paul under any pressure at all. That's his problem.
You're asking for a complete turnaround in one game in his form, aren't you?
Well, basically, yes. You've got to something sometimes just happens in a game. A bit of luck. The other guy plays a bad end. Something just happens, and it just gives you a little bit of a lease of life and gives you that spark that you need, puts a bit of confidence into your game and gets you buzzing again.
Well, he's distinctly unhappy because the bowl he just delivered just bobbled. It caught a bump and he waved it angrily away. And Paul doesn't hang around, just sticks another one in. Holds 2. Robert Hitchen sticks to the hand, thinks there's room to get through. Let's see, it's now working its way towards the jack. Can it just get inside and stop? Well, that's a good ball, but it ran, didn't it run? It worked its way with the peg, brushed the jack. But they're going to have a look at that. That looks a winner. It may not be. I fancy, I fancy blue. Another 1, well, John, at 18-10, you get a bowl like that brushes the jack and doesn't count. You begin to think.
Well, strangely enough, the brush on the jack just didn't do him any favours there, because it just turned it down the hill and speeded it up a little bit. But when things are going wrong and you're a few behind, that's the sort of thing that always happens.
Absolutely. Well, Paul Strutt last year played in the Bassmasters and beat Andy Tate 21-19 in the first round, then lost to Tommy Johnson 21-16, and I guess taking 16 off Tommy's not bad going.
No, Tommy's one of the top players.
He's
in
a
the
class
game.
act, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that Paul is a better player now than he was then. He's obviously come on for the experience. That's a good ball from Bob there. A little bit lucky, but he was up and reaching, and that's what he's got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul Strutt jogs after this bowl, struts after this bowl. And this is why. This is why. What a good bowl. Delights the crowd. Big crowd here again at the Rakes. Just turned 11 o'clock. Live bowls. The Bassmasters. 7,500 to the winner. Doesn't look as though it's Robert Hitchen's year. Leaves another single Paul Strutt. Closer and closer to a first round win against a very difficult opponent who today hasn't hit it. 1910, Paul Strutt. Plays for the Star Inn at Failsworth. That's not easy, is it? It's a good strong club over there, Star Inn.
Well, one or two of the players have left now, actually, and I think Paul's actually started playing, has moved club since, and he's playing at the Friesland.
He's moved to Friesland, has he?
Yes, a little bit nearer to his home now. But a lot of the players have moved from the Star on there to the Friesland Bowling Club, so they've still got a very good team, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hotbed of bowls. It's quite strong, isn't it, this time in the Bass? The representation from the Oldham area is terrific.
Well, the Chadderton League itself, which is the league that my team North's playing and Paul team Friesland.
How many teams in that league, John? 112 or one team?
Something like that, yeah. About 11 divisions, I think, yeah.
Yeah. So the first division really is the Premiership.
Well, it's generally regarded as the best league in the Manchester area and probably in the Northwest, really. It's a very strong league. All the 10 teams in that first division, you can guarantee there's county players throughout every team.
Good. Now then, Robert Hitchen, a Yorkshire county player himself. And use all that experience just to grab another point, just stay alive. I think he's got one. Just look for the grey disc. Yes, one. I'm taking it out. Another single. Robert Hitchen. Now then, well, the scene is set for one of the big comebacks in the Bass Masters, but he has not looked the part. Trying again, different piece of land, suit his left-handed play against an opponent who, frankly, it wouldn't matter who he's playing because his length has been immaculate. Hitchen needs a lead. Chances. Good bowl. Good bowl. Well, he needed that, John.
Yeah, he needs to string more than one or two of those together. He needs to put 5 or 6 together, though, really. That's his problem now at 1911. He can't afford any mistakes.
Now, can he get the jack? Yeah, he's just moved it, just clipped it and run out. Hitchen doesn't hang around. His bowl is on the way.
Well, he's far too far with this. He's going to do some damage, I think, here.
He might get a hit. He might just nudge the jack. He's very fortunate. He could have moved the jack towards the blue.
Yeah, he could have quite easily tipped that jack over to Paul's bowl then.
So Paul doesn't want to be short. There's room to work there. Well, just the one. Just the one. Not a lot of damage. One, Robert Hitchen. 2 successive winning ends, and he's not done that too often. He's counted 4 doubles in that 12 he's got on the board. 12-19 off the bat. Long way this, John. Right across the green.
Yeah, and that's the heaviest corner of the green, and it's the heaviest peg finger there. You really have to make sure you reach.
Well, it's desperate times, isn't it? So turned away, didn't he, from that? He knows the body language.
It did get a bad bobble, I must admit, but things just seem to be getting to Bob a little bit at the moment. He's not happy with himself.
Well, and you start looking at the green, and we know it's not perfect this year. Weather conditions right against a lot of bowling greens these days. A lot of bumps, but they've got to live with it. It's the same for both. Good bowl, this. That's a pressure bowl, isn't it? What a good bowl.
Every time Robert's played a bad lead, without exception, Paul has jumped right in there and he's put one on the jack and Bob's playing his second bowl constantly under pressure, and he's just not finding the bowls to beat them.
That's right. He's being punished, and he could find himself, unless he gets a good connection there, no. He could find himself facing defeat any moment now. It's 19-12, Paul Strutt's advantage. He's holding a very good single. He needs to couple up to win the game. They're shouting 2 from a long way out.
It's on the road and it's far
John.
enough.
They're shouting 2. We're looking for a handshake because he's got 2. Disappointing time for Robert Hitchen, the Yorkshireman, the left-hander, because this young man, Paul Strutt, has been absolutely on form. 21-12, and he's always been in the driving seat. He's been tested occasionally on length. Generally, he's set the marks, he's set the tone, and he's been a very good winner. Let's see what Eldon's saying. He's down there with both players.
Thanks very much indeed. I think because you're next to me, I will go to the loser first. You needed a sort of an Armstrong-like recovery there to find a mark that this young chap couldn't read.
Well, I did really, but Paul's played well all the game, and I've never really led a ball, with my first wood to give him anything to beat. So I think that's the story of the game mainly. Paul's played well.
Yeah, you must have been very disappointed with your leading, Bob, actually, in fairness.
Oh yeah, I haven't led a ball all game, and that's what it's all about, leading. If you don't give them anything to beat, they step in straight away and you're under pressure straight away. So, you know, that's the game, leading, I'm afraid. Wasn't there today.
Well done, Paul.
Yeah.
You must have been delighted with your performance.
Yeah, I played a length all over the green, really. Bob's not played as well as he normally does, but he's given me room and I've taken it. So I've done my bit and I'm quite pleased with it, yeah.
Dad was smiling. At least there's a strut in the
Was
next
he?
round. Yeah. well, a little bit.
Only a little bit, yes. But yeah, pleased to go through to the next round.
Right, what about the green today? Is it changed much from yesterday?
Oh, it's still very bumpy. If you don't get a ball away clean, you finish in, you know, yard and a half short, and it's very difficult to put anything in. It's playing very difficult, the green.
It is a problem, Bob, isn't it? And no excuses, I mean,
Oh, no.
same for everybody, but it is a bit tricky.
Yeah, I mean, trying to play a dead ball, it's just not on the cards, I'm afraid. You're having to overreach and hope you probably get a good hit, you know, that goes your way, but it's very difficult playing a length ball. Very difficult.
Okay, which makes your victory all the more, I suppose, pleasing, really.
Well, yes, as I've said, I've played a length, and fortunate I've missed a few of the bumps that Bob seemed to have caught in the corners, so there you go.
Okay, very well played, and hard luck, Bob. We'll see you next year, I'm sure. Right, there we go. The end of our first live match here at the Rexhall Hotel, the 1995 Bassmasters Day 2. After the break, you'll be able to see one of the game's all-time greats, I suppose the maverick, really, of Crown Green Bowls. Cracking bloke, and we saw some striking here today. He can really fire him when he wants to. No wonder he's called Stormy Norman. That's Norman Fletcher, and it follows the break.
Sure Sensive is so gentle that even after I shave, it doesn't sting.
With Lenore, you get 4 ways to give your wash a breath of fresh air. Lenore.
So, what's your favorite fantasy?
Floating in an ocean of virtually fat-free buds. Totally dreamy walls.
And how about a little something on the side? Virtually fat-free and totally dreamy. Walls too good to be true. What fantasies...
This, but not this. No, it's not dirty. That's damage caused by my old dishwasher powder. But now I've found a new one, Fairy Traditional. It's not a compact powder that you have to measure. And unlike some traditionals that can scratch over time, Fairy Traditional cares as it cleans. So your glasses show off their sparkle, instead of showing you up. New Fairy Traditional. Less scratching, more caring.
Welcome back to day 2 of the 1995 Bassmasters. I don't know whether anyone's mentioned the weather conditions so far, but it is much cooler today. We've got a bit of cloud cover. It's quite hot when the sun comes out, but there's a cooling breeze, which is obviously much more appreciated by the players than the baking hot weather we got yesterday. Well, talking of turning up the heat, young Paul Strutt certainly did, as you probably saw just before the break. Comfortable over Bob Hitchen. Not a surprise so much, but maybe the margin of victory was surprising. Right, well, let's have a look at those who've come through so far from the bottom half of the draw. Tommy Johnston, Roy Moxham, Peter Fielding, Dave McDermott, Alan Thompson, and there's Paul Strutt. So just 2 first-round matches remain. Dave Thornley is on next against the one and only Norman Fletcher. Alistair Mann reporting.
Just a short tram ride up Blackpool's North Shore is a local hero whose popularity and personality will have the Rexhall Hotel buzzing today. Norman Fletcher likes to look at the sunny side of life, and he's sure to bring the house down should he win the Bassmasters in front of his very own supporters.
I think I have a good chance this year, and I think I'll do well on that green. You know, it's one of my favourite greens, so I think I'll do all right.
Because you won on that green at the Talbot a couple of years ago, people expect you to do well. Is that a little bit presumptuous?
Well, it puts more pressure on you, that, because, you know, we're knowing the green so well, and it's top, I've got top weight on, really, but I'll do my best.
And he'll have to be at his very best, as the green here so far has left even the most knowledgeable players scratching their heads.
I think it's too much water on the green, and it's making it soft spots and hard spots, and they're bouncing all over the place, you know what I mean? And if people see it on the television, they think these fellas can't play because the green's so bad, you know what I mean? But you just have to carry on and bear with it, really.
Norman is particularly keen to do well this year after a disappointing display last. He never got his game together and is determined to put that experience well behind him.
Shocking last year, played awful. I don't want to dread there again, really, but I might play the same again. You never know, this game, it's so funny. I don't concentrate like I used to, you know, when you get older. I think you don't think you've the same interest, really, have you? But I'll do my best.
Even his reliable striking game was awry in 1994, but at least Hugh Johns had a valid excuse why that might be the case.
Stormin Norman has left the big gun back at his hotel.
Well, will it be a different story this year against a fitness fanatic, one of the youngest players in the tournament, Dave Thornley?
Thornley learnt his bowls in Chatterton near Oldham. His close cropped hair and general demeanour certainly marks him out as one of the new breed.
No, but half of people think I'm not even, you know, there to play balls, just there to watch or, you know, steal something, I don't know. But it's just the way I feel comfortable. You know, I tuck my shirt in occasionally, but, it's, you know, you got to feel comfortable when you're playing.
Dave's mum, Edna, is his biggest fan, and while she made a cup of tea, her son showed us through his art portfolio. He's about to go to university to study graphic design.
So this is one of your mum then, yeah?
Yeah, this was done in this was done in the first year at college, when you do a lot of the life drawing, really, to get you more skilled at drawing figures.
He's bowled for years. He has. He's really bowled for a long, long time. And I thought perhaps in his late 20s, early 30s when he actually got into the bounce. So really, this is a really big surprise. Absolutely, just couldn't believe it.
Are you looking forward to it?
Oh gosh, of course I am. Yeah, all the family will be there.
Dave's girlfriend Mandy is also going to put in an appearance at the Bass. His dad Eric is sure to be there. He first taught Dave how to bowl at the age of 3. Promises to be quite a family outing and a very special occasion for a special young player.
What are your ambitions for the competition?
Well, I'm just going to go there and enjoy myself, really, because it's the first time I've been in it. I don't want to put any unwanted pressure on myself, so I'm just going to go there, enjoy it, and if I win a couple of games, and it's, you know, it's a bonus.
Rob McCaffrey there with Dave Thornley, with me, Roy Armson again. Not much is known about Dave Thornley, Roy, which sometimes presents problems to top players when they play someone that they've never played before and don't know their style, that sort of thing.
Yes, it won't bother Norman because Norman will just go in the corners no matter what happens. The only time he'll come out of the corners is if he's being betted. And the fact that he doesn't know David Thornley won't really bother him at all. I would say that Norman Fletcher has the best temperament in the whole of the game.
Well, you know him better than anybody, Roy. You've obviously talked to him this week. That's Norman in grey. Is he up for it? I mean, did you get the impression that he's, you know, I'm really going to go for this?
Well, Norman's not that kind of a player. He's a very laid-back player, has this laid-back approach. He's quite comfortably placed, got a reasonable amount of money, but he's a matter of personal pride, and I think playing a young lad like David Thornley, he will want to dominate the game. He will want to get this lad behind him. And I think if he could only play every time like he played in the Talbot final in 1993, when he was absolutely superb. They said it was the best bowling on this green for 15 years.
Really?
If he could find that form, then he would go all the way.
The only problem is the green isn't, as we heard before from Bob Hitchen and young Paul Strutt, that the green isn't exactly playing to form. It's not true. Will that sort of upset his rhythm a bit on a green that he actually says is one of his favourites, if not his favourite?
Yes, I think the fact that it's bumpy, he won't like it, but I think he'll just get on with it. I think he'll adopt a professional approach and give a professional performance. The one problem with Norman in 1995 is he's lost that bit of consistency, and sometimes that happens as you're getting a little bit older, although relatively speaking he's just coming up 50.
Still pretty nifty at the old firing shot though.
Oh yes, yes, he'll resort to that with no problem at all. He's got all the shots. He can play short and he can play long. Although he will go for long most of the time, Norman's got all the shots. It's just a case of putting his game into practice.
If they're in the road, knock him out the way. Well, he's just picked up his second chalk of the match to level at 2-all. Dave Thornley has been in front over the first couple of ends, but Stormin' Norman is storming back. Early days as we join our commentators, Brian Brett, and a very good morning to Hugh Johns for the first time.
Thank you, Elton. Good morning, everybody. As I look down below me to a block sent fully 40 yards, 40 and a bit, into the corner below the commentary box, sent there by Norman Fletcher. And 2 each apiece, the scoreline, as young David Thornley trickles one down gently about 10 inches off that yellow block down there. Norman hasn't got running, well short, didn't add anything to the weight that he put on the first bowl. So young David Thornley, who certainly has designs on this tournament, graphic designs, I would have thought.
2.
A single. He takes the 3-2 advantage. Four 4-2 advantage, sorry. David Thornley again setting a fairly longish mark, which Brian Brett I would have thought was asking for trouble against Norman.
Yeah, playing into Norman's hand.
Yes.
Well, we have a theory, John, that there's a bit of a con on here because Thornley's preference is for shorter marks. Well, we think we're just taking him on his own game. But I think he's also a little worried about the striking range, isn't he? He doesn't want to get too close and he doesn't want to get too short because Norman will just let fly.
Well, he's got a ball to beat here, has David.
Yeah, he could be asking for trouble.
If it pegs a bit now, no. It doesn't look to have sufficient weight on it from here. I think that's a tram ride away.
Fletcher. 1.
So, Norman Fletcher, 3-4 off the mat. And I would say there's no reason at all why he shouldn't look lovingly down into this corner below us again. From corner to corner on this green, you've got about 57 yards of grass, and I suppose the diagonal is around about, well, they bowl around about the 52 mark if they're going corner to corner. This isn't full corner by any manner of means.
I think he's read this green very quickly, Fletcher, and realised about corner to corner, so he's going 3/4. I don't think he's too happy about it.
Well, young David Thornley is showing anything you can do, I can do better. Norman needing only about a couple of feet on his first bowl. No, he over-promoted that one by a country mile. So the boy David, in for 2 perhaps? Looks good. It'll do. Yep.
Thornley. 2.
David Thornley, 22 years old, as I think we heard in the little piece that introduced this session of live bowls here from Raikes Hall Hotel in the shadow of Blackpool Tower. 22 years old from Chadderton near Oldham. And they got into the Bass 95, winning the Henselite Thwaites Classic at Parkfield in Preston, being Simon Kaup. Very, very tight game that one was, 31-30, and in fact he was 26-30 down to Simon Kaup. So that was quite a scalp for Brian Brett.
Well, it was, because it was in the sort of Preston area where Simon lives, and he was really fancied. David has come from virtually nowhere and started making his mark. I mean, he was a rank outsider, 33-1 when the tournament started against Norman at eights. So very few gave him a chance.
Well bowled, Norman. Very well bowled indeed. Glanced over his shoulder then. I'm just wondering if he had a quick look at Brian Duncan, his doubles partner, who is greenside.
Warren said, get the money on.
Yes.
Oh, I think he was in, where on earth do I go where I can be happy? Apart from the bar.
I think Norman has the other diagonal in his mind. If he can win this block, he might try out the other diagonal of this green. But Thornley pulling up just a fraction short. Thumb peg mark, and yes, that's the one that David Thornley's got to beat. Nestling in just tight behind the jack. Thornley's bowl disturbs a butterfly and then winds up as a winner. Hey, that's not bad. 7-5, David Thornley leads. Good crowd here, and amongst them, as we were saying, Brian Duncan, Norman Fletcher's long-time associate in the partnership game, the pairs game. They've won a lot of things together, and indeed won a tournament last weekend at Rill.
They did indeed, and they beat Ken and Paul Strutt. And I was talking to Ken about it, and he said it was a terrific game. He said, we could have won it. We did nothing wrong, but against these two, you can't afford to do nothing wrong, and you still don't win. But they're a top act, aren't they? Class act.
Mary Ashcroft being asked by David, who's on? Looks as though the back bowl is closest at the moment, and that certainly hasn't changed it. Norman finger pegging and wanting some pegging from that bowl now. Run a bit more. It's pulled up short.
He's a good judge, Norman. He'll sum this up very quickly.
Measures, please.
Oh, he's asking for a measure. It's unusual. It's obviously against him.
Yes, for those of you not too up on the game of crown bowls, it's up to the players to decide who's won what, and if they can't decide, then the measurers are called on, and they perform the measuring.
And the players stand back, Hugh. Well, they're supposed to stand back. Norman knows already.
I was going to say, Norman always likes a close view of things.
Thornley, 1.
David Thornley has a single, takes an 8-5 lead, which will delight his father, Eric, I think, who's down ringside with Alistair Mann.
He is. You must be absolutely delighted with the way it's going at the moment.
Very, very pleased. I'm glad he's got a length as soon as he's gone onto the green. That's half the battle, because the green's very bumpy. And if you can get a decent length, then it's half the battle.
Were you worried that he might be a little nervous with all the cameras and the attention?
Yes, I was, but he doesn't seem to be. Hopefully he won't be, he'll be all right.
How much has he been looking forward to this?
Oh, he was over the moon when he qualified. Over the moon.
And what about yourself?
Oh, I was as well, yeah, definitely, yeah.
He's coming over to where we are at the moment, and he's played over here very well.
Yeah, he played very well. He's just a bit short. No, that's his short ball there, so I'm hoping he's going to beat this one.
Well, that's the view from right by the jack over here, up to you and the overview, shall we call it?
Thanks, Alistair. Indeed. Yes, the Thornley family, Mother Edna and Father Eric have every right to be proud of their young man here. His lead, I think, about to be reduced. Certainly reduced by 1.
Fletcher, 2.
And indeed, he reduced by 2. So Norman has the block back and ready to set off deep into the corner away down to our left. This is a good long ball. It's around about 50 yards, I would think. It's on a length. So David's really got to push this one out. Good bowl, son. Hey, what about that?
You're short of a length. That ball's 6 inches short.
Wow.
He's weighing up a strike, isn't he, Hugh, and wondering, looking at the score, he's going to strike.
Yeah, Mary won't get in the way of this one. It's a controlled strike. It's not one of his heaviest ones. Bingo! Got it. And takes the blue bowl out. So there's only one bowl left on the green. So that one is counting at this moment. And yes, young David can repeat his first bowl. Norman Fletcher telling it to stop. And it has. And
Fletcher, 1.
Norman's in for a single. That was a cracking strike from Norman. It wasn't his full weight, though, was it?
No, it was controlled, and as you see, it got a few bubbles on the way in. He looks anxiously following that one. But it's a great connection. Good winning point. Yeah, they worked hard for it.
Well, now he's got control for the time being, anyway, of the diagonal across the green here at the rakes. At 8 across. And again, he's just fractionally over a length with his first bowl. Now, David Thornley. Well, he's just about the same length on t'other side of the block.
Blue bowl.
Blue bowl is counting, says Mary Ashcroft, our referee. And Norman Fletcher is way out with that bowl. That's a bad sign for Norman. It's a definite David and Goliath job here. David at 22 and Norman at 50. And David is, at the moment, certainly holding his own.
1.
Yes, David Thornley nudges himself in front with a single there, 9-8. Well, we'll be leaving you for a moment or two, but this game will still be going live when you come back to us.
Link Skin System Shave Gel. Cares for your skin.
It's too good to be true, floating in an ocean of virtually fat-free but totally dreamy walls.
Unwrap an amazing fruit. Solero from Walls. Breathe in the aroma of exotic fruits. Unpeel the softness of refreshing fruit puree. Sink into luscious dairy vanilla ice cream. Let it all melt together on your tongue. Fruit will never taste the same again. Solero from Walls.
Step it up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Why buy a step? I've got 14 steps right here. And another thing, why pay more for your washing powder when Radiant tackles stains and gets clothes brilliantly clean and fresh? And the moral of the story is, why stretch yourself if you don't have to? Radiant, hard on stains, soft on pockets.
When I played for England, I never settled for second best, so shredded wheat was my kind of cereal. Nowadays, my needs have changed, but my standards haven't. I still insist on no added salt and no added sugar, just 100% whole wheat. So it's got to be shredded wheat. Now that's my kind of delivery. Nestle shredded wheat and bite size too.
And now there's new shredded wheat fruitful. Delicious cereal, lightly sweetened and bursting with real fruit. New shredded wheat fruitful. It's deliciously fruitful.
If you want beautiful hair, there's Organics, the only shampoo with glucosil, a natural nutrient which nourishes your hair's living roots. The results are a revelation. Your hair shines with health and beauty. Organics, the root-nourishing shampoo from the Alida Hair Institute, for hair that shines with living beauty.
Play Esso Drive Time and you could win one of millions of prizes. In fact, anything from free weekend breaks to travel offers to one of 10 Lotus Esprits. And put your life in the fast lane.
Well, in that short time that you were away from us, David Thornley scored a single, Norman Fletcher scored a double, so we're level at 10-10. Norman is on at the moment at this block. And David Thornley has one bowl left to decide where he's going. I think he's going to fire. Yes, he is. And I think Norman Fletcher is going to be invited to get there and stop it. Our cameraman, crouched and providing that shot for you, is in mortal danger. But no, it's gone clean through. Norman stops it. No change. And Norman scores a single. So Fletcher 11, Thornley 10. After, what is that, 16 ends of bowl?
Yep, 16 ends, and I just get a little feeling that Norman Fletcher is more into his game here. 2 winning ends, and I think he might just have settled into some sort of rhythm now.
As I think, looking back, this is the first time that Norman's actually got his nose in front.
Yes.
And this will be a big test of the resolve and determination of young David Thornley in the tournament for the very first time. Norman, of course, has the experience of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 Bassmaster tournaments. First back in '83, reached the semi-final. That was his most successful run. Went out to Len Higginbottom on that occasion. Remember Norman and Len Higginbottom having a marvellous, marvellous splash in the rain at the Martin Institute in Crown Challenge a couple of years back on a torrential rainstorm. Well, David Thornley has responded to the pressure that Norman's put on him. Scores a single, and once again we're level, 11 across. And this gives David Thornley a chance to play across the green.
This is more his mark and length, Hugh. Certainly prefers the shorter marks.
Yes, this would be, oh, what, 25?
Maybe 28, do you think?
28.
It's a good lead because that's the way in, so Norman's going to have to try and narrow a shade.
Hasn't got the running. David giving that more land.
Well, he seems quite untroubled by either Fletcher's reputation or the stories about this green, but he's bowling it pretty well.
Well, he's closed up the obvious way in. And Norman, I think, is either going to turn his bowl over or give it some hammer.
He's going to give it a bit of the old hammer, Hugh. He's just loading now.
It's heavy, it's straight, and it's gone straight through.
Thornley, 1.
And I don't see any reason why young David Thornley won't go back on a similar sort of mark. But, well.
He wants to change the diagonal, doesn't he? At the very moment you think you're reading this lad's mind. And I thought he might have halved the green, but he's taking Norman on now at length. He's just mixing it, isn't it? Mixing it up.
Yes. I would have thought this was one area, one sort of distance that he's stayed away from, but no, he's trying everything out. Norman was admitting earlier that he's finding it more difficult to concentrate on his game these days, and I think the waywardness of that bowl rather illustrates that. You would expect Norman at that distance to be a lot closer than that with his first bowl. David Thornley's creeping in nicely here. How about that one? Whoa!
It's only 1, so it's a long way, but he might just put a little running in.
I think the little bumps that this green is producing are worrying Norman.
Didn't do it.
No.
Thornley, 1.
Yep. 13-11. Well, looking down at the bowls from 10-12 yards away at this moment. Roy Armson, I'm wondering what your impression is of this game.
Watching the game, I'm very impressed with David Thornley. I've only seen him on one other occasion, and he's certainly matching Norman Fletcher in the corners. But the other fascinating thing this morning is that about 2 minutes ago we had about 12 spots of rain down here, and I think that's about all we're going to get. There has been a slight morning dew, but that's been removed by a little bit of a breeze over there from the east. And I know that the green at the moment, I would think, is about a yard faster today than what it was yesterday at this time. And Norman Fletcher playing now, finger peg right up over the crown, playing with his favourite Lignum bowls. These are the heaviest bowls in the tournament at £2.12.5 Lignum. So in theory, Norman's bowls should run that little bit further.
Thanks, Roy. In fact, that bowl did run a little further than Norman wanted. It's gone through by 2.5 feet, and Thornley is counting at this moment.
That one's won it, Norman. You're 2 foot over.
So Norman needing to take 2.5 feet of running out of his delivery. Must peg now. Didn't. He's 1 down. That's another single to David Thornley. And certainly this young man is showing some impressive determination. The graphic design student,
Thornley,
fitness fanatic. bombs around the countryside on his mountain bike. He looks well in control here. 20 ends played, only just over half an hour of bowls completed, and Thornley with that 3 chalks advantage. That's not a bad lead.
Yes, that's been the story, hasn't it, Hugh? His leading has been pretty good, certainly better than Norman. And on a green, Norman would know better, but in this condition, maybe it's an advantage to know.
He has one here, he has one. Oh!
It looked as I had.
Good gracious me.
It was a beautiful road.
Just a coat of paint away from the block then. But the weight that he had, it needed to hit the block to stop it. No, that
Only one.
had no running in it.
You're 2 foot over. That's level, that leading bowl.
Well, I thought that was a bit narrow, Hugh. Let's see.
Well, he can't possibly do anything. Oh!
I think he's still left one.
Yes, most certainly. Sort of an air of resignation about the demeanour, the body language of Norman Fletcher at the moment.
Yeah, I thought a few ends ago he was looking the part, but it's not worked.
Well, that's 5 singles on the trot to take David Thornley from 10-11 down to 15-11 up.
Just left that a bit short.
Yeah, needs a bit more running than that. Don't think Norman's going to be short. That'll do. Bang on the length.
Yeah. It's a good chance, isn't it, for Norman, this at 15-11, because he doesn't really want him to get any further away.
Thornley's got more running in this one.
Good
Bang
road.
on it. Bang on the road. What a super bowl. Hey!
I don't know they can beat it. He can't beat it.
Can't beat it. He's got to knock it off. That's all he can do. Here she comes. It's going to be close. Oh! A whisker away.
Thornley. 1.
Wow. 16-11. David Thornley. His nose in front. Looking good. Looking happy.
He can't wait. He's itching to get hold of that jack again. He's just waiting for Norman to arrive with the footer, grab the jack, and he's going to be on his way very quickly. He's got a game plan. He's straight back across the green.
Well, I believe this to be the last thing that Norman Fletcher expected from a young man that he would have had very little knowledge of. Bowling out of the Nimblenook Club at Chatterton, and really hasn't got a great deal of form behind him. This year he's had a couple of good runners-ups, and the Matthew and Jackson, Staley Bridge, lost 21-19 to Kevin Shaw in the final, and runner-up in the Oldham Classic to Ken Strutt, 18-21. So I mean, he showed that he was there or thereabouts, but apart from that very, very fine victory against Simon Cowp in the Henselite Thwaites.
Yes, you're talking about a very good club though, Hugh, in a very hard competitive league in Chatterton. I'm just looking at his statistics. He's 22 and he's been playing for 20 years. He's packed a bit into that.
Fletcher. 1.
Right. Norman Stanley has a single and stops that little gallop from David Thornley. has the block back in his hand, but also, I suppose, has a small problem to solve as to where he shall send the block. Wherever he sent it that was going to suit him, it seems to have suited young David Thornley.
He wants the other diagonal here, so he's going to go along the edge.
Full length of that edge is around about the 41-yard mark, and so say 2 in that end and 5, 7. So around about the 30 yards.
About half his normal preferred distance.
Yeah. His first bowl bang on a length. Round peg mark. The pegging at the back end will be assisted by the slope of the crown. Bang on the button. Well, I wonder if this might inspire him to go back from whence he came instead of going for the diagonal. David Thornley, can he change it? No, he's just made sure that Norman Fletcher gets 2 out of this. He was on 2 anyway.
Fletcher, 2.
So he's within just 2 chalks. In fact, he does go back from whence he came. Same sort of distance. This a finger peg mark this time with the round pegging, the slope and bias complementing each other, drawing the bowl down. I think David's underneath it. Norman just wanting to creep round those 2 short bowls and drop down. It was too heavy. Didn't give the bias any chance at all to work for him. I think that might be a serious mistake on Norman Fletcher's part.
Second bowl was certainly a letdown, but they're going to look for whether it's 1 or 2.
Like your bowl.
Which bowl is the one that she likes?
I think she likes the short first bowl of Norman Fletcher's.
Yeah.
But this could change it.
Heavy part of the green.
I don't think it's arrived.
Changed nothing.
May I ask for the pegs?
Don't measure. I like yours. Do you want to measure, Norman? Thornley, 1.
All right, wound up with David Thornley. So David Thornley now takes a 17-14 advantage, and I'm just wondering what's in the mind of his Norman Fletcher's pairs partner, the great Brian Duncan, who's watching this now with Alistair Mann.
Well, 1 or 2 people will be surprised to see Norman down, but you know quite a little bit about David. He's a good player, isn't he?
Well, I played him once at Oldham, I think, in the qualifying game for the Oldham Rugby Union, and he beat me about 21-16-17 at the finish. I came off and I just said, well, I played a good game, and he just, on the night, he just played better than me. So he's a steady player.
You won a pairs tournament with Norman the other week. Is Norman playing well?
Norman's been playing very well. I mean, and this is a green that he certainly does play well on. Obviously, the green isn't in as good condition this year as Norman, but it's a green that he's certainly happy on.
What kind of things has he got to do now to turn this around?
I think he's just like he's trying to do. He's just gone up the side of the green. I think he's just got to play a different kind of marks rather than just, we'll say, keep persevering in the corners, because David's playing just as well as him in the corners, and he's just got to do something different.
Have you been impressed with the way David settled down so well in front of the cameras and all that kind of thing with the first time?
Well, he has really. I mean, he's settled down. He set off playing very well, so I mean that does make a big difference, and he seems very relaxed actually. I mean, it's going to be a good finish, I think, now.
Thank you, Brian.
Well, Brian, I think we'll have a small applause for his great pal Norman, as Norman Fletcher has picked up a single. Yes, Brian was saying that Norman Fletcher has played well on this green. He certainly did in the Talbot 2 years ago, 93. They say that was one of the finest games. Roy Armson was saying it was one of the finest performances by a bowler that he'd seen for many a long year. Norman beat Robert Crawshaw, another of the Bassmasters competitors, in the final there by 10 shots, 21-11.
Well, he makes it one of his favourite greens as well, that with Burnley St Andrews, but that's in normal, true playing conditions. But he certainly knows it much better than David Thornley.
Yes, I wouldn't have thought that David Thornley has played the green before.
He would have been in the Talbot, Hugh, but that's it.
Ah, yeah.
And you're talking then of only 2 or 3 years, maybe. But he has been playing well since his teens. Look at that.
Oh.
What a good connection.
Well, of course, Norman worked all that out. He
probably saw
planned that.
Yes.
He saw that.
Yeah.
I like a hawk for these sort of occasions.
That looks a narrower line. If he's further, he might just do some damage.
I don't know if we had the picture then, but I think Norman was being attacked by a wasp at that moment.
It's from Oldham.
Specially imported. Well, it looks like 2.
Fletcher, 2.
Yes, it is. Well, would you believe it? 27 ends of bowls completed. 34 chalks on the board. And nobody's in front.
He's coming the other hand, Hugh. He's decided to exploit the thumb pegging mark on this end, but he's still, well, he's pegging at the back end, and it's a good bowl now. He's really had to concentrate. We normally know Norman, or we appear to think he's laid back, but this young man has made him concentrate.
Well, Armstrong always feels that you've just got to believe the block, regardless of preconceived thoughts about the green. Norman has a beauty.
Turned over.
Yep. It's pegging just enough. If he gets a connection, he's bang on. Oh, unlucky, my son.
Well, what's he left? That's the thing. It's certainly 1. There'll be no dispute. They want to look at 2 here, you know. Norman might well ask for 2. Very important end if he can pick up 2 here.
Fletcher, 2.
Yes, it is 2. What a time to get your nose in front. For only the 2nd time in this match, Fletcher is in front, and it is a vital moment. Just needs the 2 for entry into the 2nd round. And he's given that a nice wide bit of land. Peg on down, no. Just pulled up.
Immediately, Thornley changes the hand. Strange that he shouldn't follow the Fletcher bowl.
Indeed.
And believe in it. They've now got to believe in the jack, they've got to believe in the green and their ability to play it.
This, the heaviest part of the green. You've really got to push them out there.
Deceptive, Norman, because he just strokes them away, but in fact he put a bit of running into that.
Now that's a better line, I think. Well, he'll be happy enough with that. Promotion for his first. His 2nd winds up closer than the first bowl of David Thornley. So David Thornley bowling to stay alive.
Turned over again.
I think he's got this one better, has he? Or is it drifting away? I think he may have got it.
He may have it.
Thornley.
Yes, he has. Well done, son. That was brave, because he turned his first bowl over and it was dreadful.
Yes.
And instead of going back to the finger peg. He stayed with the bowl turned over and got it dead right.
Because I think Norman possibly had 2 on that side of the jet.
Yeah.
But it was a brave shot. This is brave too, isn't it? He changed this. This is his normal line and length.
Well, that'll do as a fair lead. It's enough to put some pressure on Norman Fletcher. It's not running in. Thornley then, holding 1. Well, he doesn't plan to be short. He's right spot on the button again. Look at that. Now, Norman.
Well, he's got to take the jack.
He's going to take it out.
Got to take the jack, Hugh. There's 2 against him.
Now. Got everything. Got everything. Dead end. So they've got to start all over again. The weight of Norman Fletcher and the accuracy of him. Captured by our cameraman, who was risking his life to get down there. Gets a good cannon off there, takes the jack off the green. Dead end. So they start again. And the footer placed by the rules, meter from the ditch, and the man who set the last mark resets this mark. There we are. And it's up over the crown, down the other side, halving the green, right smack across the middle. Oh, Norman, you left it on the mat. Oh, this distance certainly caught Norman out. David Thornley didn't get his first bowl really close. He's not going to be very much closer with this one, if indeed, no, he didn't beat his first one. Got to be a winner for Norman Fletcher here, surely.
There's some rough land, Hugh, they've got to avoid.
Yes. The bumps not only take the running out of the bowl, but disturb its line. Well, that'll do. Norman has a single.
Fletcher, 1.
So the importance of that strike, just a few moments ago, is certainly underlined now as Norman Fletcher takes a 2018 lead. Norman going away into the corner. Round peg mark. Needs some more running, needs some more running. Well, in normal circumstances, that wouldn't be too bad as a lead, but David Thornley has responded to these sort of challenges regularly. He's done it again, I think. Oh, unlucky son.
Over the last 2 ends, there have been a couple of rubs like that, and they've both gone Norman's way. The strike was a bit fortunate, you know. He went for a clean strike on the jack and didn't get it. Looking to come in the other way.
Now it's stayed well out.
He's still on.
He's still on, but Thornley, every chance. But it's this bowl to stay alive, I think. It's gone, it's gone. Gone out, and I'm afraid the exciting young talents of David Thornley have gone out of the tournament as well, but he's left a mark here amongst the spectators that have seen him. Norman Fletcher, the veteran, wins it 21-18, and I think a lot of people have been very impressed with the performance of a newcomer to this green. But now with the 2 participants, here's Alistair Mann.
It's just going to.
Well, the two of them still discussing a very tense game. Norman, I think it'd be fair to say you tried everything in the book to shake this man off.
I did really play very well. Very unlucky to lose, really, but that's how balls is, isn't it? You know, it's one of them things.
You didn't know much about him beforehand, but you certainly do now.
Well, I know, very good player. Well, I've heard about him. I played him a few times, you know, very good player.
Obviously, at 17 all, you tried a little bit of a gamble by changing your peg, and that seemed to just pay off for you.
Well, you try anything when when you've been a mile behind, you catch him. You just do anything to disturb the other fella if you can, you know.
And then you were lying with 2 shots to perhaps bring you back in the game, and this gentleman came along with a terrific strike. How frustrating was that for you?
It was a bit frustrating. I thought if he just takes the one out, it's not too bad because I could still get up at the next end. But then when it ricocheted onto it, Jack, it was a bit of a sickener.
It was a bit sickener for you, but apart from that, you must have really enjoyed the way that you took part in the tournament today.
Well, yeah, I'm just glad I've made a game of it, really, because there was no pressure on me, really, to win. It was all on Norman, I think. So I just wanted to get in at the beginning, give me a bit of confidence and see how it went from there, really.
Clearly, it was one of those occasions where everyone thought you might be a bit nervous. That wasn't the case at all, was it?
No, not really. Once you got on green and had a couple of ends, then you soon forget about it.
Well, Norman, you're in the next round. The locals here are quite happy about it. Did you feel extra pressure? Did you feel them willing you on?
Not really, but they all get excited, don't they? But I'll do my best.
How important is it to get the first round out of the way? So many players go by the wayside.
In a competition like this, if you get your first round in, you've always a chance then, you know. But if you play a bad first round, it's goodbye, isn't it?
And what kind of things would you say for this gentleman for the future?
Well, he just keeps going, doesn't he? Trying along. Like I've been playing a long time, like he's only a lad, you know what I mean? So just keep going and he'll improve as he gets a bit older. Very good.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for finding us probably the game of the tournament so far. And Elton is just over in the corner there with one of many stars who are appearing in Blackpool at the moment.
Thanks very much indeed, Ellie. That's right. Alan Stewart, man of many voices, who's popped in to watch the bowls this morning. And lucky lad, you've just seen probably the best game we've had so far.
So you've told me. That's great. I did enjoy that. I mean, that's really. It's not a game that I've ever watched before, but I was getting into it there. I think I'm an expert now, actually, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I'll give you a crash course. Great comeback by Norman Fletcher, wasn't it? I mean, experience told against you, didn't it?
He was well behind, and
That's
all of a
right.
sudden, you say the pro, as you were talking about, he's the pro, so he's come back, hasn't he? He's done really well. Enjoyed that, yeah.
Anyway, how's the show going?
We're having a fabulous season. This is like working in the Caribbean. What more could you ask for? Sun. We just slip in to work and do a couple of shows. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, we had about 12 spots of rain. You've been here, what, for 6 weeks?
Well,
I
I felt 2 spots there. You didn't believe me. I felt 2 spots as I was standing over there. That's the first I've felt since I've arrived up here.
I mean, the heat has been fantastic. I mean, generally, Blackpool's probably never had it so good for, 100 years or something like that. I mean, have the holiday makers really responded?
Well, it is hot in the theatre. I mean, but they've been coming in and it's been packed out. It's been fantastic. You know, there's a real kind of buzz. I don't know. Blackpool has a real buzz about it. It's the one place I love working. The last time I worked here was 1972. So they must have loved me, yeah?
Well, obviously they didn't say it's a cold day when you come back. That's
right,
for sure.
I'll do the gags, okay?
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Well, come on, do one then.
Well, I don't know. What voice would be right for bowls, do you think? I mean, is it
right.
aggressive? It's not an aggressive game, is it?
No, well,
I mean, Billy Connolly wouldn't be right for bowls, would he? That's too aggressive, isn't it?
You'd be surprised about the aggression. Some
Spooky
people
little
are,
Edna
you know.
Everidge might say, "Darlings, look at that jack there. It's probably the nicest jack I've ever seen."
Talking, I don't know whether we've got any cameras out there at the moment, but we've got a set of bowls out there, which I think I've never seen before.
Yellow ones,
the yellow ones, they're Lee Lawton, most unusual.
Well, I think I feel a sticky moment coming on with those yellow bowls. They're rather calm, aren't they? Very nice indeed. He's nice, the cameraman, isn't he?
Well, you are awful.
Nothing, like nothing, not a reaction, not a thing.
No, he is smiling, I promise you, he is smiling, but he's got a job to do there. Anyway, you're obviously doing your job well because you're packing them out. You're appearing with who?
Joe Pasquale. Joe actually couldn't come this morning. I think that's why I'm here, but Joe said to say to everybody out there,
I think I know what you mean.
Actually, I'm getting a bit of.
No, I'm delighted that you came because we've
had
so many people in the last couple of minutes, you know, with you being here. So it's been a plus
cheap
for us.
I feel really bad about taking the £10,000 for this because I've enjoyed just sitting here, and I just feel bad about taking the money for it.
Well, you never know. You could get into the game of bowls, compete, and get to the Bass Masters one year and win £7,500 first prize money.
Yeah.
Not bad for 4 days.
Tennis is my game. I like playing tennis, but this is a lot easier, I think, from a relaxing point of view. Not an easier game, but much more relaxing.
You don't do John McEnroe, do you?
No, I don't do him, no. He's gone now, that's out. So.
Okay. You only do current people.
Current people, yeah.
It's been lovely to see you. Thanks
Nice
for dropping
to be
in.
here. Thank you.
Enjoy the bowls, okay? Alan Stewart, and we'll have more people who are appearing here. Alan at the Grand, by the way, and the Grand, yeah, and we'll have more people popping in throughout the course of the next few days. Finals day, of course, on Sunday. We're going to take a break now. After that, a brief glimpse of the 1987 Bassmaster, Chris MacDonald. He's in action against the guy with those funny yellow bowls, L Lawton. Join us again. Welcome back. We had a surprise visitor earlier this morning, another guest popping in to watch the bowls here at the Bassmasters, maybe looking for some nuts and a bit ambitious if he was after a bowl or two. Anyway, he livened up proceedings. Certainly the crowd loved it, and as he disappeared, there was a big chorus of "Nice one, squirrel." Nice to see him here this morning. Got quite pally with one or two of the people around the green. He's a gutsy little character. There's trees over there and he couldn't get back, so but everyone was very kind. No one took the shotgun out, don't worry about it. He's alive and well and enjoying the bowls, as we are too. Let's have a look at the second round draw, how it's working out. You can pick we'll just pick one or two out before we see some more bowls. Obviously Brian Duncan against Glyn Cookson, you'll see that this afternoon. The number one, the favourite, against the reigning champion. That's a match which will grace the final itself. Tommy Johnson against Roy Moxham. The only lady left in, Kath Garnett, will play John Bancroft, who's won this twice. Dave McDermott, Peter Fielding. Alan Thompson against Paul Strutt. And Norman Fletcher, who came back so stoically there against in his match and against Chris MacDonald or L Lawton. David Thornley, Fletcher's victim, but the young man acquitted himself absolutely superbly. Right, let's have a look at the 1987 champion there. Chris MacDonald from Macclesfield. Never really done anything magnificent in the Bass since his win in '87, but he's certainly one of the most fancied players in the bottom half of the draw. It's very much a heavyweight contest, as you'll gather when we take a look at L Lawton. But the most unusual facet, apart from his build, are his bowls. They're certainly something I've never ever seen before. Going back to 1982, the Bassmasters then, when it was at the Woodland Hotel in Ellesmere Port, and one of the two tournaments as well. So I think that's a good cue to join Roy Armson, who's an expert in these matters, and Brian Brett too. What about these bowls, Brian? Two of you can tell us about them.
Well, they're hoarding a few points at the moment, if not nuts, Elton, because the lad is leading with these yellow bowls 3-1. I've seen red before, certainly, and he's going to pick up another two here to make it 5-1. Roy, they're a lovely colour, aren't they, these bowls? But have you seen this colour before?
Yes, I have actually. Lee and his brother Darren both play with yellow bowls. There are actually not many of them around now. These particular bowls were actually manufactured in Scotland about 15 years ago, but they never really caught on. But Lee and his brother Darren have kept hold of these bowls because they're a slightly lighter density than the normal bowl, and in theory they run that little bit further. But usually people don't favour coloured bowls because when you're playing in league matches there's usually 4 games on the green, and I always think when they stand out, when you send a bad bowl, people know they're yours, so you can't hide behind them.
You don't use them, Roy?
No, I don't use coloured bowls, no.
Remember the red? Was that Mike Knowles?
Mike Knowles was red, yes. And
somebody else on there.
I think we've seen red and blue, but yellow are most unusual. The only other man I think that we saw once before on the Bass who did play with yellow bowls at one time was Mark Tinning.
Yes. They tend to look bigger, but I think in weight there's not much difference. I don't know what Chris is using because he said he hadn't decided.
Chris is using, he normally plays the same weight as Darren. He normally plays a composition bowl of £2.10, but he's gone to a pair of Lignum Vita bowls, about 2.10.5 for this championship. He feels that they'll ride the green a little bit better, the green being a little bit lush, and having 1 or 2 bumps. It's just his feeling that, and he's practiced for a couple of days with them, so there is just a little difference in the bowls.
Well, he's picked up another point there to trail 2-5. It's going to be an interesting battle because I don't think Chris has played the rakes all that much, while Lee has been on it recently and was runner-up in the Tournament Players Association Under 25 tournament, and then played in the Talbot itself last Saturday. So he really ought to know his way around this green a bit better, Roy, than Chris.
Yes, Chris feels that he can't get a lot of enough time off work to come up here and practice the green. But both of these players are involved in tournaments, in competitions all the time. Chris probably much more so than Lee. And it's just a case of finding a length on the day. Sounds easy, doesn't it?
It's not that easy because the first bowler, Chris MacDonald, actually eventually toppled off the green. It stayed and had a look and then fell backwards. So he really does need to just work a way through and settle. That's a good one. It's one against Lee now. So he can't afford to be short. Ideally, it'd be nice for him to take the black bowler Chris MacDonald off or shunt it out the way to count 2, pick up the jack maybe. No, nothing. Leaves one to blue. Chris MacDonald, former Bassmaster in 1987 in our Ellesmere Port days. Won a fair number of decent handicaps around. Stamford Van Hyen no longer with us. Daniel Thwaites at the Klondike. Goodyear Open in Bunbury. The Mio Brace, a big tournament. And to qualify, he won the Bunbury Classic. So, he may well have heaved the old jack off here. Then again, the peg might just keep him on, but he's desperately close to the edge. Oh, it's gone. It's set off again, so he's lost the advantage of placing the jack where he likes, and it will now be set by his opponent, L Lawton, with Chris MacDonald playing the first bowl. Well, Chris has a look around, pick his own land, changes it completely. Totally different length and line. Chris steps forward, the man in blue plays the lead. Blue disc bowl. It's working its way towards the jack. He may not worry unduly about the placing of this jack, but a yard through. So, this is shaping up to be a fair old game. The two heavyweights in the tournament.
Well, still plenty of play in this particular match. We'll let you know how it finishes when we return at 2:45. The big one, though, Duncan against Cookson, favourites 1 and 2. Join us then. Bye-bye.